Good morning, students. How are you guys? Good morning, Nikita, Sangeeta, Suhail, Ajay, Mukteshwari, Neha, Kadambari. Welcome once again, guys, to live coaching classes of hosted by Board of Studies, ICAI. So, students, we are into chapter 4, that is audit evidence. So approximately we have covered about, I think, 40% of the chapter. And as I had told you that it is one of the lengthiest chapters in both of your modules. So far, students, we have covered Essay 500, which deals with the general meaning of audit evidence. What are its various aspects? We had also dealt with reliability and relevance of audit evidence. What do we mean by sufficient appropriate audit evidence? These all things are dealt in Essay 500. And besides that, we had also gone through Essay 501, which relates to audit evidence and pertaining to some selected items. So what were those selected items? These three items which we discussed in Essay 501 are inventories, litigations and claims involving the entity, and segment information. And we had also covered Essay 505 pertaining to external confirmations. So these things, students, we have already covered. So students, the method in auditing, the method of understanding in auditing, and rather in any subject, is when you move on to next topic, do keep it in your mind what you had learned till now. Try to make a brief summary of it in your mind, and try to retain at least basic points of that topic, not finer details at the first understanding. So try to retain at least what that topic was all about and what were its main points. These you can do when you are first time doing some chapter, not only in auditing but in any other subject. So I think uh, it would be useful for you. So today we shall be discussing, students, Essay 510 and Essay 550. So what is Essay 510? Essay 510 relates to initial audit engagements and auditor's responsibilities pertaining to opening balances. So what is an initial audit engagement, students? Initial audit engagement means broadly that when the auditor is conducting audit of that entity for the first time. So either previous audit was done by some another firm, by some another predecessor auditor, or say the accounts of last year were unaudited. So this we call as initial audit engagement. So initial audit engagement, what are the auditor's responsibilities regarding verification of opening balances in such initial audit engagements? Because as you understand, students, in initial audit engagements, auditor has not audited accounts of last year. So therefore, a greater responsibility is thrust upon him to verify that there are no misstatements in opening balances. So that is the significance of SA 510, and these and it deals with such responsibilities. It deals with such aspects. Okay, and SA 550, it deals with transactions with related parties, like like dealing of company with another company, having common management, having common directors, or transactions by a company with its directors or with its key managerial personnel. So these are all related party transactions. So what are responsibilities of auditor in this regard, in relation to related party transactions, and why he has to remain alert for risk of material misstatement in the related party transactions. So these all things are dealt within SA 550. Okay, so students, you understand that what do SA 510 and SA 550 deal with? So now we straight away go to your module and see what does SA 510 is all about. Yes, guys. So you are able to see the module. Students, we are at page 4.87. We are at page 4.87 of your module. Topic number 6, page 4.87. Students, and another three important informations for you. One information is, students, many students had asked in a few classes back uh, about the weightage of uh, different chapters in your auditing exam. So I told you that it should have been uploaded on website, but by that time it was not uploaded, but now it has been uploaded. So students who wish to check that what is the weightage of a chapter in examination, you can check it on BOS website. It is uploaded there now in relation to all subjects, in relation to all papers. So but students, I would also suggest you that uh, you have to do all chapters, complete course. It is just the weightage is just for a sort of, I would say, psychological assurance, and nothing all, and nothing more than that, because the structure of paper is such that you cannot do justice to your paper. You cannot do justice to your exam without reading the whole modules. Okay. So obviously the chapters which are lengthier, which are lengthiest, they have the greatest weightage. So anyway, you can check if you want to. And another information relates to Rajiv sir's phone number. His second number is working now. There is some issue with first number. So any student who wants to call to him, or who wants to WhatsApp to him, he can do at this number 9466789298. So in the coming days, he would be available only on this number 9466789298. And third information, this information I had also told you, those students who are from Hindi medium, but who are seeing this lecture, they can now access the module in Hindi at the BOS website. It is available in Hindi also in BOS website, at the BOS website. So students, uh, these are the some important informations. So Rajiv sir's second number on which he would be available is, I am again repeating it, it is 9466789298. So initial audit engagement, students. So first of all, we understand what does initial audit engagement mean as per SA 510. So students, if you understand the meaning of initial audit engagement, half of your problem is solved. So what is initial audit engagement? Initial audit engagement refers to an engagement in which either the financial statements for the prior period were not audited, or the financial statements for prior period were audited by predecessor auditor. So it means such an engagement, such an assignment, such an engagement to conduct an audit in which either the financial statements of prior period, it means the immediately preceding period. So if we are talking about 31st March 23, then of 31st March 22, then either these accounts were unaudited or these were audited by some predecessor auditor. Predecessor auditor means an auditor who is different from the current auditor. Say if I am auditing financial statements of 31st March 23, but the audit of the financial statements of the same company was carried out by another Mr. X. So he would be a predecessor auditor. So clear, very simple, but you have to keep it in mind. And it also defines predecessor auditor. So the auditor from a different audit firm who audited the financial statements of an entity in the prior period and who has been replaced by the current auditor. So obviously predecessor auditor means the auditor who is from a different firm. It doesn't mean auditor, it doesn't mean partner of the same firm. So that is an important point to remember. Say if the audit of a company was carried out by a firm ABC and Associates. So if Mr. A was doing the audit of the last year, then if the Mr. B is now signing the report in current year, Mr. A does not become predecessor auditor. He because the firm is same, the audit is carried out by the firm of chartered accountants, by the firm of auditors. So it does not, he Mr. A does not become predecessor auditor. Clear? However, say if the audit was done by ABC and Associates in 31st March 22, and now it is being carried out by say XYZ and Associates in 31st March 23, then for XYZ and Associates, ABC and Associates are predecessor auditors. Clear, students? So predecessor auditor means, yes, Muhammad Aslam, your messages are visible. Your messages are visible, do not worry. So for the time being, students, You also focus upon what you are learning. Okay, do not worry about your messages. So understand, students, what do we mean by predecessor auditors, and what are opening balances? Opening balances mean balances which are reflected in the last, which are the closing balances of the prior period financial statements and have been carried forward, or you can say that these exist at the beginning of the period. So if we are talking about 31st March 23 financial statements, so the balances which exist on 1st April 22, so these would be opening balances. Okay, so simple things, but these are documented, these are written. So opening balances are based upon the closing balances of the prior period and reflect the transaction and events of prior periods. And opening balances, students, also remember another important point is that opening balances also include disclosures which existed at the beginning of the period. Okay, so therefore SA 510, it deals with auditor's responsibilities relating to opening balances when conducting an initial audit engagement. So remember, students, first of all, that this SA 510 applies only when auditor is conducting an initial audit engagement. It does not apply in every audit engagement. The basic condition is that this SA 510 applies in initial audit engagement. So what was the meaning of initial audit engagement? Means where the auditor is conducting audit for the first time himself, like when the financial statements were not audited in the prior period, or these were conducted by somebody else. So clear, students? इसी बात पे आपके कई सारे डाउट्स क्लियर हो जाने चाहिए। अगर आप इसको ही ध्यान से समझ लें, so students, many of your doubts would be resolved. You need not send even your queries also. Okay. So word predecessor means previous, पिछला, जो मेरे से पहले था, predecessor. Like say Mr. X is in some post. Now who was his predecessor? Means who was in that post before Mr. X joined. Okay, so as simple as that. So in addition to financial statements amounts, opening balance also include matters requiring disclosure that existed at the beginning of the period, like contingencies, etc. So all these disclosures which existed at the start of the current accounting period, this SA 510 also applies to such disclosures. So opening balances include disclosures also. Clear, students? So objective of auditor with respect to opening balances in conducting an initial audit engagement. So what is the objective? So first of all, we have to understand that why the auditor wants to check the opening balances. in an initial audit engagement. Now, in this whole essay, we are talking about initial audit engagement. So I am not repeating the name again and again, initial audit engagement. So understand that we are discussing this essay in the overall framework of an initial audit engagement. Okay. So the objective of auditor in such an engagement is to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence about two things: about whether opening balance contains misstatements that materially affect the current period's financial statements. This thing he has to be satisfied about whether opening balances contain some misstatements, contain some errors, or there are some legacy issues which are carried forward which contain misstatements that can affect the current accounting period's financial statements, of which the auditor is auditing as an initial audit engagement. Okay. And the appropriate accounting policies reflected in opening balances have been consistently applied in current period financial statements. Now it also becomes important for him to see that accounting policies which were applied by that company, by that entity in the prior period, these have also been followed consistently in current period. If there is change due to some reason, then he has to see that this change is properly disclosed and its effect is disclosed. So therefore, students, while conducting an initial audit engagement, the auditor is concerned about two things. First thing is whether opening balances contain any misstatements that can affect current period's financial statements. And second thing is he is concerned that accounting policies which were followed by the company in prior accounting period have also been followed consistently in current accounting period, or if there have been any changes, the changes are properly disclosed and these changes are properly presented. So these are two of his objectives. Okay. So now how he has to obtain audit evidence about opening balances in such an engagement? So SA 501 SA 510 states that the auditor shall obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence regarding this aspect by doing three things, by doing these things. So what are these three things? These are so fairly simple, common sense point of thing, students, but these you have to keep in mind. So ये ऐसी चीजें हैं कि अगर आपको ना भी पता हो तो भी लॉजिकली आप वही करोगे, but these are documented, so you have to keep in your mind, you have to remember. So determining whether prior periods closing balances have been correctly brought forward to the current period, or any adjustments have been disclosed as prior period items in current year statement of profit and loss. So obvious, ये तो obvious है students. When you are conducting such an engagement, you would see that prior periods balances have been correctly brought forward. All opening balances say relating to trade receivables, relating to inventories, relating to trade payables, relating to capital balances, these should be exactly the same as these were at the closure of the prior period. Okay. And if there are some adjustments relating to prior period which are made in current year, so these are also reflected in current periods financial statements as prior period adjustments. Okay. So determining whether opening balances reflect the application of appropriate accounting policies. So this is again connected with the first point relating to the objective of auditor, which we had done. And performing one or more of the following procedures. Now these are the specific procedures apart from seeing. These are the specific procedures apart from seeing that opening balances have been brought forward correctly. So what are these specific procedures? Where prior year financial statements were audited, then inspecting the copies of audited financial statements relating to prior period financial statements. कि अगर इनिशियल ऑडिट एंगेजमेंट्स ऐसी एंगेजमेंट है जिसमें कि पिछली फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स ऑडिटेड थी, तो आप ऑडिटेड फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स देखेंगे और उसके देखेंगे कि उसके जो बैलेंसेस हैं, क्लोजिंग बैलेंसेस, दीज हैव बीन ब्रॉट फॉरवर्ड प्रॉपर्ली और नॉट. क्लियर स्टूडेंट्स? और अगर वो ऑडिटेड फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स नहीं है तो ऑब्वियसली आप अनऑडिटेड फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट से चेक करेंगे. Evaluating whether audited procedures performed in current period provide evidence relating to the opening balances. तो स्टूडेंट्स इस लाइन का क्या मतलब है? What is the meaning of this line? Evaluating whether audit procedures performed in current period provide evidence relating to the opening balances. So students, suppose the auditor is applying some procedure in the current period but relating to trade balances, relating to trade receivables. Now say the company had a trade receivable of rupees 50 lakhs. So in the current period, if the payment has come of rupees 50 lakhs, say as on 1st April 22, the one trade receivable balance in the financial statement of company was rupees 50 lakhs. So in current year 22-23, if the payment has come from that trade receivable of rupees 50 lakhs, then obviously it is providing me evidence that balance reflected as on 31st March 22 or balance which is reflected as opening balance as on 1st April 22 was proper, was correct. It is giving me the comfort. So you understand what I mean to say? What is the meaning of this line? Evaluating whether audit procedures in the current period provide evidence relating to the opening balances. But this can't be the case with every account balances. In some case, these can provide audit evidence, like we have just talked about the balance of trade receivables. Similarly, in case of trade payables also, if say 10 lakhs was shown as payable as on 31st March 22 and the payment is made in the current accounting period, then it gives me the comfort, it provides me the evidence that the opening balance is correct, that in the current accounting period 22-23 payment has been made, that the balance existed as on 1st April 22, and there was no likely misstatement in that balance. Okay, clear guys? So performing specific audit procedure to obtain evidence regarding the opening balances. So specific audit procedures regarding opening balances, he has to perform certain procedures which he thinks are necessary in the circumstances to evaluate, to satisfy himself that opening balances do not contain any material misstatement. Okay, this is all what he has to see, what he has to do in accordance with this particular essay 510. So if the auditor obtains audit evidence that opening balances contain misstatements that could materially affect current period financial statements, the auditor shall perform such additional procedures to identify its effect on current period financial statements. So अगर उसको कोई misstatement मिल जाती है opening balances में, then he would see what is its impact on current period financial statements, because obviously he is the auditor of current period, so he would be seeing its impact on the current period financial statements, how the misstatement in prior period is impacting account balances, is impacting financial position in current period. This he would have to evaluate. Okay. So these procedures, these audit procedures in this regard pertaining to opening balances, students, depend upon many factors, and these factors are, some of these factors are the accounting policies followed by the entity, the significance of opening balances relative to the current period financial statements, कि वो say company का prior in the prior period the company's business was not as good. Okay, so all the trade receivables, these were of small amounts, and now in say current period the business of company has grown manifold. So in this case the significance of opening balances would not be as much. These would not be as material. So these are the kind of factors which affect the kind of audit procedures to be performed by the auditor in initial audit engagement. Okay. The nature of account balances, classes of transaction and disclosures, कि वो जिन balances की हम बात कर रहे हैं वो किन चीजों से relate करते हैं. So these are common points, students. These in auditing, everywhere in every topic you can apply materiality. You can write that whether these things are material. You can write whether what is the nature of this thing. You can write what is the significance of these things. So even if you fail to remember in your exams, you can write these things logically. So this is what we have been telling you, that when you remember, obviously you will not be remembering all 100% of the things, but even if you remember, even if you retain 60-70% of those things, then your job is done. So whatever then you would write in exams, that would be logical, that would be relevant. Even when you write from your own common sense, you would be writing logical and relevant things. Okay. So if prior period financial statements were audited by a predecessor auditor, then as we have understood that the current period's auditor, he would go through the copies of the last year's audited financial statements. And he would see the complete financial statement, including balance sheet, P&L, schedule, notes, significant accounting policies, and all schedules he will see. Okay. So ordinarily, when students, when an auditor goes through the financial statements of a predecessor auditor, it is normal for him to rely upon the audited financial statements, because these have been audited by a fellow professional. So therefore it is expected for him to place reliance on such audited financial statements. Okay. But only caveat, only thing is that when during the course of audit of current period, if he finds any possibility that there is misstatement in the opening balances, then he can change his view. Okay. Otherwise, if he doesn't find anything fishy while doing current period's audit, then he is expected to, and he can replace and he can place reliance on the figures, on the closing balances which are contained in the financial statements of the prior period. Yes, clear to you guys? So like I've been telling you, like for current assets and current liabilities items, the procedures performed by the auditor in the current period, they might provide evidence relating to the prior period. Like I had given you an example of trade receivable and trade payable. किसी का 50 लाख रुपया किसी से कंपनी से लेना है ऑडिटी कंपनी ने, तो अगर वो 50 लाख रुपया करंट पीरियड में आ गया, देन ऑडिटर इज सेटिस्फाइड दैट ओपनिंग बैलेंस वाज करेक्ट. It gives him comfort. Similar is case with trade payables. Okay. But however, but in case of inventories, say if he is attending physical inventory count as at the close of the year of the current period as on 31st March 23, then it does not provide him comfort of the opening inventories which existed at 1st April 22. So therefore it depends upon nature of item. So in that case, either he should attend physical verification in the beginning of the year, okay, and then correlate his findings with the inventory, in position of inventories at the beginning of period, because attendance at the end of period is not going to provide him comfort relating to the existence of inventories at the beginning of the period. So it depends upon the nature of item. Okay. So for non-current assets and liabilities, like property, plant and equipment, so some audit evidence may be obtained by examining the accounting records underlying the opening balances. So obviously the company would be maintaining records pertaining to the property, plant and equipment. So obviously the balances which are reflected in the prior period statements, and in the current period statements as the opening balances, the auditor can get comfort by seeing the records, by examining the accounting records. Okay. And in respect of some items like debt, like borrowings, the confirmation from third parties, it can also provide audit evidence to the auditor. And consistency of accounting policies relating to the opening balances. So this point I have explained to you at the beginning of this topic also, at the outset of this topic also, that accounting policies which are followed in the prior period, the auditor has to see that these are followed in current period also consistently, in the same way, in the same manner, uniformly, as these were followed in the prior period. Or if there have been any changes, then the auditor has to see whether these changes have been appropriately disclosed and their effect has also been disclosed in current period. Okay. So if auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence in such type of engagement, then auditor shall modify his opinion. He shall either express a qualified opinion or a disclaimer of opinion. So qualified opinion means that he is satisfied about the financial position of company, but he is not satisfied about, say, one aspect, and its effect is limited to that aspect. And disclaimer means that the auditor is not in a position to give his opinion, that he disclaims that he has not been able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, and he disclaims the opinion. So all these things you would be studying in greater detail, students, when we will be doing essay 705 and your chapter on auditor's report in module 2. Okay. So this was all about students essay 510. It is a fairly short essay and contains many simple, common sense, logical things, and it is very easy to remember also. Okay. So students, before we start another essay 550, so let us first do a case study relating to what we had learned in our previous 4 classes. What we had done, we shall be doing a case study. So students, are you ready for doing a case study? Yes, students. Are you ready for doing a case study? Yes, guys. So again, my request to all of you students is, please do not see answer from your modules. Please do not see answer from your module. Try to do it. Whatever understanding you have gained, I would try to explain to you all the options, and you also apply your own mind, apply your own logic, and then try to give answers to these questions of case studies, of MCQ questions relating to case study. So the case study is fairly simple one, but even then I would like you to do it. So we shall be doing, students, case study 2 of your module, which is given at the end of this chapter. Case study 2 of your module, which is given at the end of this chapter. Yes. So students, this case study is visible to you. Please, again, students, my request to all of you is, please do not see answers from module. Because if you see answers, look, every purpose, the very purpose is defeated. So if any student writes all the answers correctly by seeing it from the module, then it serves no purpose. You are harming yourself and nothing else. Okay. Yes. So this is the case study, students. Please go through the case study. So I'll also explain to you. Financial statements of a firm have been put up for audit before CA Manushi. On going through financial statements, she wants to verify assertions contained in financial statements and has planned certain procedures for carrying out detailed checking. Now, this case study, students, relates to assertions, to different nomenclatures, to different tests which are used by the auditor while carrying out audit procedures. So this case study tries to increase your basic understanding. It tries to clarify certain basic things to you. Okay. सो सीए मानुषी के पास एक कंपनी के फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स ऑडिट करने के लिए आए हैं, जो उसमें एसर्शंस हैं वो उसको शी वांट्स टू वेरीफाई द एसर्शंस एंड शी हैज प्लान्ड सर्टेन प्रोसीजर्स. सो व्हाट शी इज डूइंग, number 1A, she plans to verify some major bills debited in machinery repair account. The purpose of it is to ensure that bills are entered correctly and classification is proper. मशीनरी रिपेयर अकाउंट में काफी अमाउंट है और उसके कुछ मेजर बिल्स वो वेरीफाई करने चाहती है, ये देखने के लिए कि जो अमाउंट है उसका पर्पस क्या है, कि अमाउंट एंटर्ड इज करेक्ट, बिल्स आर एंटर्ड करेक्टली एंड क्लासिफिकेशन इज प्रॉपर, कि क्लासिफिकेशन भी प्रॉपर है. कहीं मशीनरी रिपेयर का मशीनरी अकाउंट में तो नहीं जाना था, क्लासिफिकेशन प्रॉपर है और बिल्स के अमाउंट भी करेक्ट है, ये उसका पर्पस है. दिस इज इट्स पर्पस. सेकेंड इज शी प्लान्स टू वेरीफाई that all balances appearing under trade payables are genuine and not fake. She also wants to verify कि जो ट्रेड पेबल्स में उसके सन्ड्री क्रेडिटर्स में बैलेंस आ रहे हैं वो सब जेन्युइन है, वो फेक नहीं है. सी, she plans to compare amount of wages paid in current year and last year and is also planned to verify relationship between number of employees and wages paid in both years. Now what is she doing? She also plans, उसने ये भी प्लान किया है कि जो करंट पीरियड के वेजेस हैं उसको प्रायर पीरियड के वेजेस के साथ कंपेयर करेगी और ये भी कंपेयर करेगी कि पिछले साल में कितने एम्प्लॉइज थे और कितने वेजेस की पेमेंट हुई और इस साल में कितने एम्प्लॉइज हैं और कितने वेजेस की पेमेंट हुई. दैट हाउ मेनी एम्प्लॉइज वर देयर इन द प्रीवियस ईयर and what was the amount of wages paid and how many employees were in the current year, and what was the amount of wages paid. So fairly simple, very simple case study, but it tests your some basic fundamental concepts. Okay. She is of the view that it is necessary to examine title deeds of land appearing in financial statements of the firm. So she is of the opinion कि जो कंपनी जो फर्म की बैलेंस शीट में लैंड आ रही है उसकी टाइटल डीड्स उसको एग्जामिन करनी जरूरी है. टाइटल डीड्स मींस द थिंग्स विच प्रूव ऑनरशिप, which you call in the normal language as registry, ownership proof. Okay. So if she wants to verify the title deed of land, जो लैंड की जो फर्म की फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स में लैंड आ रही है उसकी वो टाइटल डीड्स मीन ऑनरशिप प्रूफ, documents which provide which show that so and so person is the owner of that land. Okay. And is the firm is engaged in export of goods to Europe, the sales invoice raised in euros are converted into Indian rupees as per applicable norms. This information is also given कि वो जो फर्म है वो एक्सपोर्ट करती है एंड invoices are raised. Obviously when you export some goods to foreign countries, then you have also to raise an invoice in foreign currency. Okay. Which is called as commercial invoice, and you have also to prepare an invoice under Indian tax laws, say under GST, which we call as tax invoice. So commercial invoice is the requirement of customs. Okay. So this much information is given. So again I am showing you all the 5 points, friends, so we can scroll the screen later. So once again establish all the 5 points in your minds. Yes guys, take a little time and establish all the 5 points in your mind. Number 1, she plans to verify some bills in machinery repair account, major bills. उसका पर्पस क्या है? That bills are entered correctly, amount entered is correctly, and classification is proper. And second is she plans to verify that trade payables balances are not fake, these are genuine. Third thing is she wants to compare wages of current period with previous period, and she also wants to see what was the number of employees in last year and what was the amount of wages paid in last year, and she also wants to see what is the amount of wages paid in current year and what is the number of employees in current year. And fourth is that she wants to examine the ownership proof of the land which is appearing in the financial statements of the firm. And fifth is this information is given that the firm is engaged in export of goods to Europe, and the invoices are raised in euros and are converted into Indian rupees as per applicable norms. So now we come to questions. Yes students, first question. As regards description regarding verification of bills debited in machinery repair account, identify what she intends to. Yes students, very easy, with question which hits at your fundamentals. यस यस 5-7 males have come. What about other students? Your strength is more, your number is more, you are not 7-8. So what about others who have not answered, guys? Yes. Yes, students. Yes, so many students have answered correctly. So the answer is, students, tests of transactions. Answer is tests of transactions. So why it is test of transaction and why it is not test of controls? Why it is not test of balances and why it is not risk procedures? Now some of you thought, Jagpati, you are writing D. But I think 70-75% students have written correct answer. They have written answer B. So the answer B is correct. Okay. So, but how it is correct? So students, what were tests of controls? Tests of controls का तो मतलब है कि वो कंपनी के कंट्रोल सिस्टम को वेरीफाई कर रहा है. तो यहां पे तो कंट्रोल्स की बात ही नहीं हो रही. वो तो एक्चुअल प्रोसीजर अडॉप्ट कर रहा है जो कि मिस स्टेटमेंट को डिटेक्ट कर रहा है. कंट्रोल की तो बात ही नहीं हो रही. वो तो एक्चुअल बिल्स को वेरीफाई कर रहा है. और जो जो ट्रांजैक्शंस को वेरीफाई करने के लिए प्रोसीजर्स अडॉप्ट होते हैं, उसके लिए उसको हम कहते हैं टेस्ट ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शंस. दीज आर कॉल्ड एज टेस्ट ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शंस. ओके. एंड टेस्ट ऑफ बैलेंसेस क्यों नहीं है? टेस्ट ऑफ बैलेंसेस इसलिए नहीं है क्योंकि ये दिस इज नॉट एन in auditing language, it is not an account balances. It is reflected in where machinery repair is reflected. It is reflected in statement of profit and loss. So tests of balances वो होते हैं जो कि बैलेंस शीट आइटम्स के लिए ये टर्म यूज होती है, लाइक फॉर ट्रेड रिसीवेबल्स, फॉर ट्रेड पेबल्स. एंड व्हाट आर रिस्क असेसमेंट प्रोसीजर्स? रिस्क असेसमेंट प्रोसीजर्स का तो मतलब ही यही होता है कि वो these help in identifying the risk of material misstatements. Okay students, so clear है आपको why it is test of transactions? Test of controls की कोई बात ही नहीं हो रही है इसमें कि कंपनी का क्या कंट्रोल सिस्टम है एक्सपेंसेस बुक करने के लिए, इसकी कोई बात हो रही है, इसलिए ये टेस्ट ऑफ कंट्रोल नहीं है. टेस्ट ऑफ बैलेंसेस वो होते हैं जो बैलेंस शीट आइटम सप्लाई होते हैं. तो मशीनरी रिपेयर कहां पे आएगा? इट वुड बी अपीयरिंग इन प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट. इट वुड बी अपीयरिंग इन स्टेटमेंट ऑफ प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस. सो tests of transactions would be applicable. And risk assessment procedures, these are altogether a different thing. रिस्क असेसमेंट प्रोसीजर का तो मतलब होता है कि वो प्रोसीजर जो कि रिस्क को आइडेंटिफाई करने के लिए होते हैं, रिस्क ऑफ मटेरियल मिसस्टेटमेंट को आइडेंटिफाई करने के लिए होते हैं. देयर पर्पस इज टू आइडेंटिफाई रिस्क ऑफ मटेरियल मिसस्टेटमेंट, बट हियर द ऑडिटर इज एक्चुअली वेरीफाइंग he or she is actually trying to detect the misstatement. Okay, students, clear? All the four options are clear to you? Yes. And second question is, identify which type of assertion she intends to focus when she wants to ensure genuineness of trade payable, sorry. Yes. Identify which type of assertion she intends to focus when she wants to ensure genuineness of trade receivables. Now, this question pertains to assertions. सो एसर्शन स्टूडेंट्स हमने इस चैप्टर के बिल्कुल स्टार्ट में किया था एट द वेरी बिगिनिंग. तो कुछ थोड़ा बहुत याद है आपको एसर्शंस के बारे में? तो कौन सी एसर्शन है ये? यस. विच एसर्शन इज दिस? Identify which type of assertion she intends to focus when she wants to ensure genuineness of trade receivables. She wants to confirm that whether trade receivables are genuine or not. तो किस assertion की बात हो रही है? तो trade receivables, yes students. Now we shall try to answer it. जो ट्रेड पेबल है वो इसकी नेचर क्या है? व्हाट इज इट्स नेचर? वेदर इट इज ए ट्रांजैक्शन और अकाउंट बैलेंस? इट इज एन अकाउंट बैलेंस बिकॉज इट इज अपीयरिंग इन बैलेंस शीट. ओके. सो बैलेंस शीट आइटम से रिलेटेड असर्शन कौन सी होती है? विच असर्शन इज रिलेटेड विद बैलेंस शीट आइटम? इट इज existence. All other assertions relate to transactions. Existence relates to account balances or balance sheet items as I had told you. So जब वो genuineness trade payables की verify कर रही है, it means she wants to verify that whether this trade payable existed at the first place or not. So this answer C is correct. Yes, many of you have answered correctly. C, many students have given C. So D, Ashutosh Yadav and Sivanjani, how you are giving D? It has nothing to do with accuracy. So go back to the assertion topics and see which assertions relate to transactions and which assertions relate to account balances. You have to remember their names. So once you remember their names and their meanings, you can easily pinpoint that whether this particular assertions relate to account balance or class of transaction, and then you can choose from the four. So in this question you can see that all the three, A, B and D, all the three are the assertions which relate to the transactions, whereas assertion C relates to the choice C relates to the account balances. And anyway, the meaning of existence assertion is such that the auditor wants to verify that the balance in fact existed, that the account balance existed as a particular date. It is genuine, it is not fake. Yes. Okay. Now third point. As regards comparison of wages of current year and last year and comparison of relationship between the number of employees and wages paid in both year, identify what she is trying to do. Yes, students. Question number 3. What she is trying to do? She is comparing wages of current year and last year, and she is also comparing relationship between the number of employees and wages paid in both years. Identify what she is trying to do. Yes. Yes, students. Yes, guys, you are correct. Many of you have answered correctly. Answer is D. She is performing substantive analytical procedures. So analytical procedures क्या होते हैं students? Analytical procedures we had learned under the audit procedures, that analytical procedures tend to tend to derive some sort of relationship between the financial data and non-financial data. So they establish some sort of trend. तो what वो ये देखना चाहती है कि पिछले साल वेजेस कितने पे हुए, इस साल पे हुए, उनमें कोई इंक्रीज है या डिक्रीज है, क्या चेंजेस है, और पिछले साल कितने एम्प्लॉयज थे और कितने वेजेस पे किए, और इस साल कितने एम्प्लॉयज और कितने वेजेस पे किए. सो शी इज ट्राइंग टू एस्टेब्लिश between all these things. So she is intending to perform substantive analytical procedures. Okay. So tests of balances तो वैसे नहीं हो सकता, because this transaction does not relate to account balances. This transaction relates to uh, item in profit and loss account. So this is ruled out. Option C is totally wrong. Option A and B is she is performing test of details and test of transactions. Okay. But here what she is doing, what is test of transaction? Test of transaction is simply watching, simply seeing the bill and its accompanying documents. And tests of detail is a wider term which pertains to both tests of transactions and tests of balances. So all these A and B both are wrong, and C is also wrong. So D is correct. Yes, Manohar Yadav, Divya Kumari, Priyanka Pandey, Sangeeta, and many others, you have written it correctly. So she is doing some sort of analysis. So so analytical procedures definitely do some sort of analysis. So when you do some sort of analysis and you try to establish some sort of relationship from those analysis which you make, you are performing analytical procedures. So when these analytical procedures are used to detect material misstatements, these are called substantive analytical procedures. Okay. Yes, Vibha Sharma, you have also written correctly. Yes. Yes, Devinder Singh, you have also given right answer to question number 2. C. Okay. So now question number 4. In case of examination of title deeds of land, which of the following fits in the most appropriate description of such an audit procedure? Yes. Yes, students. Now she wants to examine title deed of land. So when she is examining title deed of land, what such type of procedure is known as? What such type of procedure is known as? Inspecting some document. It is known as inspection. Yes, answer is B. So this is the right answer. Yes, all of you have answered correctly. So when you see some document, you inspect it. So when you see some document, or when you physically examine some asset, it is known as inspection. Okay. Yes, Manohar Yadav, yes, you are writing the reason also. That's good. That's logical. And your logic is also correct, Manohar. Keep it up. Yes, now we come to question number 5. She wants to verify whether conversion of foreign currency into Indian rupees is proper or not. Identify what she is trying to do. Yes, she wants to verify whether conversion of foreign currency into Indian rupees is proper or not. Identify what she is trying to do. वो सिर्फ इतना चेक कर रही है कि जो इनवॉइसेस यूरो में रेज हुए थे उसकी कैलकुलेशन जब उसको रुपीज में कन्वर्ट किया तो वो करेक्ट है या नहीं है. तो व्हाट शी इज ट्राइंग टू डू. Yes, almost 80-90% of you have answered correctly. So what she is trying to do, she is doing recalculation. She is just recalculating it. What is the meaning of recalculation? As per the definition of recalculation, the meaning is just checking arithmetical accuracy. So when she is converting and she is seeing that amount which is reflected in euros is converted into Indian rupees correctly, then she is just recalculating the amount. She is doing nothing else. And reperformance is something else. Reperformance means performing some control, some process which was intended to be performed as part of control by the company, and that is again performed by the auditor. Like the company instituted some control which was necessary to be performed, but that control is the auditor is testing that control and he is again performing that control. So reperformance is wider. Reperformance is broader than recalculation. Recalculation involves only one aspect, and that is just checking mathematical calculation. Okay. And observation, he is not seeing any process. So this is not true. Inspection, she is not inspecting any document. So this is also not true. So the right answer is answer B, recalculation. So yes, students, now whether your understanding has increased a little bit, so आपकी स्टूडेंट्स अंडरस्टैंडिंग तभी बढ़ेगी अगर आप मॉड्यूल को पढ़ेंगे बार बार, तभी आपको वो चीजें याद रहेंगी और तभी आपकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग और उनको अप्लाई करने की कैपेसिटी भी तभी बढ़ेगी, एक बार से नहीं बढ़ेगी। ओके स्टूडेंट्स, इज दैट क्लियर टू यू? तो स्टूडेंट्स इसके बाद हम आपकी क्वेरीज ले लेते हैं। नाउ लेट अस सी व्हाट आर योर क्वेरीज। Now, Ashok Khareal, you are asking if we have received a copy of account from the debtor, do we require the confirmation from the party? Now, you are simply asking Ashok Khareal that the company in the normal course has received a copy of account from the debtor, but this is a sort of control devised by the company, that the company is in the process of routinely reconciling and retelling its trade receivable amount, its debtor amount. But the external confirmation as a procedure, it has to be done by the auditor independently and directly. He just cannot rely upon the copy of account which the company has received as part of its control procedures. So when the auditor applies external confirmation procedure, there is a process to that. He has to select the appropriate parties. He has to design the confirmation request. He has to send the confirmation request himself directly, and then he has to evaluate the responses. Okay. Ashok, is it clear to you? Yes. Yes, Swati Krishna, you are asking, initial audit engagements are different from preliminary engagement activities. Yes, these are different. Preliminary engagement activities are to be performed in every case. Here the auditor checks in preliminary engagement activities what you have read in chapter 2 in audit planning, that what is the integrity of the honors, whether he should at the first stage he should accept the audit. But in case of SA 510, it is related to the responsibilities of auditor relating to opening balances. It is not about the acceptance of client relationship. Yes, Swati. Is it clear to you? Yes, Swati. Yes, Rituraj, for audit, if I not study chapter 1, then I would not. Yes, Rituraj, you are perfectly correct. इसीलिए that is why you have to study all the chapters and do not leave any chapter, because all the chapters are related to one another. And say in case study based questions, it might so happen that the case study is not restricted to one chapter alone. So in the examination, the case study might ask you questions from 2-3 chapters taken together. Okay. So it is important. So Meenakshi Tripathi, when costing classes will start? I do not have any knowledge, Meenakshi. It is for Board of Studies to decide. Anyway, I can assure you that these would be started in due course. Yes, Jay Patel, it depends upon the nature of the question. What is asked in the question, that you have to write. Say if it is asked in the question, explain the meaning of audit risk, then you have to define the then you have to give the definition. And if something else is required, then you have to write that thing also. Okay. Yes, देवेंद्र सिंह पेल, प्लीज टेल वे टू रिटेन. रिटेन के लिए देवेंद्र सिंह आपको रिमेंबर करना पड़ेगा. अगेन एंड अगेन यू हैव टू रिमेंबर दोज थिंग्स इन योर माइंड. Since you yourself had told that you are a person, you are retired from some department and you have 36 years experience, so obviously you would be finding it difficult to remember because of your age. But if you have joined the course, it is for you to see how to remember. You would have to retain. If you can't retain, if you can't remember, there is no point in pursuing CA course, because anyway, in that case, you will not be able to clear the exam. You would have to retain. Yes, Mamta Yadav, predecessor auditor. Predecessor auditor means पिछला auditor, जो कि करंट ऑडिटर से डिफरेंट है. प्रीवियस, जो कि इस पोजीशन में मेरे से पहले था, दैट इज नोन एज प्रीडिसेसर ऑडिटर. ओके. Yes, there is combined weightage. Who is writing? Yes, Devinder Singh. There is a combined weightage. Yes, is Board of Studies prepares weightage for certain chapters uh, alone, and those chapters which are small, it combines 2-3 chapters, or because of the nature of chapters, it makes group of those. So this is way of this is up to Board of Studies how it does it. So whatever is there in uploaded information, you have to go by that. Okay, like I think in chapter 4 the weightage is between something between 15 to 20%. So this weightage is alone for this chapter is given. So but as I have been telling you, that you cannot clear CA exams by choosing selectively. आपको पूरा करना पड़ेगा और पूरा याद भी करना पड़ेगा, रिमेंबर भी करना पड़ेगा. उसके बिना आप जितने मर्जी पापड़ बेल लो, सीए एग्जाम नहीं क्लियर होगा. दिस यू कैन टेक इट फ्रॉम मी. आप जितनी मर्जी अंडरस्टैंडिंग ले लो, आपका एग्जाम नहीं क्लियर होने वाला. Yes, there is no coaching provided in Hindi. No coaching is provided in Hindi as per present norms. Yes, Srinivasan, if the opening balance is not materially misstated, what should the auditor do? Then it is perfectly okay, Srinivasan, if the opening balance is not materially misstated. He is performing his procedures and he sees that opening balances are perfectly fine. These are not materially misstated, then that is okay. The auditor would be getting comfort that there are no material misstatements in opening balances. So what is for him to worry about that? Yes, Meenakshi, you are saying, can financial statement be modified after audit? No. When these are audited, obviously these have been finally audited. Okay. There may be some requirement of law when these accounts may need to be misstated, restated, like in case of companies. So that you would be reading in your company law classes. Okay. Yes, Srinivasan, if the new auditor finds that old auditor has done misstatement materially and new auditor made necessary changes. Yes, if there are misstatements in the prior period financial statements, then obviously regulator would catch him somehow. So it is the responsibility of that predecessor auditor. The current period auditor has nothing to do with it. He is not going to make a complaint against him or these type of things. Okay. Yes, Mukteshwari Solanki, you are saying please explain test your understanding 9. Okay. So this probably you had requested in last session also. Probably I failed to respond. So let us see what is test your understanding 9. Yes. So this is test your understanding 9. On reviewing schedule of trade receivables of a company, see Mary finds out that in respect of one outstanding balance, CFO of the company is not willing to allow to her sending external confirmation request due to the reason that sending out such request could spoil precariously placed business relationship with the company. So on further inquiry, she found that there is a dispute going on with the company relating to some quality issues of goods sent to customer and matter is sub judice. Now efforts are being made for out of court settlement. On reviewing correspondence with customer, she finds that issue is near resolution. Is unwillingness of CF on justifiable? So this I had already explained to you, Meenakshi, during the course of lecture also. So what the test you are understanding about is 9. This question is about, say, the auditor CA Mary, she finds that in respect of one trade receivable which is outstanding in the books of the company, CFO is requesting her not to send external confirmation request. CFO उसको request कर रहा है कि मैडम आप इसकी एक्सटर्नल कंफर्मेशन रिक्वेस्ट नहीं भेजिए क्योंकि इस पार्टी के साथ हमारा डिस्प्यूट चल रहा है, बिकॉज वी आर हैविंग सम डिस्प्यूट विद दिस पार्टी एंड वी आर ट्राइंग टू मेक एन आउट ऑफ कोर्ट सेटलमेंट. कोई उनका पैसे का लेन देन का झगड़ा चल रहा है, कुछ क्वालिटी इश्यूज का झगड़ा चल रहा है, पार्टी पैसे नहीं दे रही और वो जो मैटर है वो सेटल होने वाला है आउट ऑफ कोर्ट सेटलमेंट से. ओके. कंपनी दोनों कंपनीज जो है लिटिगेशन में भी गई है, मैटर इज सब जुडिस, लेकिन एफर्ट चल रहे हैं उसको आउट ऑफ कोर्ट सेटलमेंट के लिए. तो क्वेश्चन आपसे ये पूछ रहा है एंड सीए मेरी आल्सो फाइंड्स दैट व्हाट द सीएफओ इज सेइंग इज करेक्ट. उसने वो सारे पेपर्स चेक किए हैं जो ये शो करते हैं कि मैटर वाकई ही कोर्ट में चल रहा है और कुछ आउट ऑफ कोर्ट सेटलमेंट के भी एफर्ट्स चल रहे हैं. ओके. तो शी ऑल्सो फाइंड्स दैट मैटर इज नियर रेजोल्यूशन, कि वो मैटर जो है सेटल होने वाला है, नेगोशिएशंस लास्ट स्टेज पे है. तो क्या ऐसी सिचुएशन में उसकी रिक्वेस्ट जस्टिफाइबल होगी सीएफओ की? यस, उसकी रिक्वेस्ट जस्टिफाइबल होगी क्योंकि अगर ऐसी सिचुएशन में सीए जो ऑडिटर है, सीए मैरी, अगर वो रिक्वेस्ट भेजेगी तो इट माइट डिरेल द नेगोशिएशन प्रोसेस. देयर इज ए पॉसिबिलिटी इट वुड नॉट नेसेसरली डिरेल. ओके. सो जो सीएफओ कह रहा है वो उसमें वेट है, उस बात में वेट है. देर आर जेन्युइन रीजंस टू हिज रिक्वेस्ट. so that is why in such cases she might accept the request of the CFO of the company. लेकिन अगर इसी केस में सपोज सीएफओ ने कहा होता कि आउट ऑफ कोर्ट सेटलमेंट चल रही है, मैटर सब जुडिस है, लेकिन उसके बारे में वो कोई डॉक्यूमेंट्स शो नहीं कर पाता, कोई कॉरस्पॉन्डेंस जो कंपनी के साथ चल रही है, कोई और एविडेंस वो शो नहीं कर पाता, तो उस केस में उल्टा हो जाता. तो उस केस में उसकी रिक्वेस्ट जस्टिफाइबल नहीं होती. यस. मीनाक्षी, इज इट क्लियर टू यू? यस मीनाक्षी, इज इट क्लियर टू यू? यस. Sanjana Ben Chuan, if a partner of firm XYZ had done audit of ABC Limited for year 20, then in 21 audit of ABC Limited is going to be done by firm PQR. And now, yes, it would be called initial audit. It would be called initial audit engagement. Yes, Sanjana Ben, you are right. Devender Singh, disclaimer means when the auditor is not in a position to express his opinion. डिस्क्लेम को हम कहते हैं कि किसी चीज को डिस्क्लेम करना, किसी चीज की तिलांजलि दे देना कि मैं ओपिनियन दे ही नहीं सकता. क्यों नहीं दे सकता? क्योंकि मेरे पास कोई ओपिनियन देने का बेसिस ही नहीं है. I have not been able to obtain sufficient appropriate evidence. So this you would be reading in your chapter on auditor's report in detail. What is disclaimer of opinion? Okay. Yes. Now, Devender Singh, no understanding is gained because your teaching method is not appropriate. So, Devender Singh, probably you are in a habit of writing such comments. So, that is for you to decide. Rather, your level of understanding seems to be far below than other students. So, it is better you improve yourself. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, any other queries, guys? Srivastava, yes, you are saying little bit confident. That's a good. Yes, Zahida, you are saying 5. You have answered 4 out of 5 correctly. Yes. So, Devinder Singh, you are saying what is meaning of substantive? तो सब्सटेंटिव अगर आप देविंदर सिंह, अगर आपने अपना टाइम नेस्टी कमेंट्स देने की बजाय अगर मॉड्यूल पढ़ने में लगाया होता शायद अपना समय, तो आप सब्सटेंटिव का मतलब अच्छी तरह से समझ पाते. Substantive means when analytical procedures are performed as substantive procedures. Substantive procedures वो होते हैं जहां की ऑडिटर एक्चुअली मिसस्टेटमेंट्स आइडेंटिफाई करता है. So when analytical procedures are performed as substantive procedures, these become substantive analytical procedures. Say analytical procedures, risk assessment procedures. की तरह भी परफॉर्म हो सकते हैं, एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर सब्सटेंटिव एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर्स की तरह भी परफॉर्म हो सकते हैं। सो जब एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर्स का पर्पस मटेरियल मिसस्टेटमेंट्स के रिस्क को आइडेंटिफाई करना है, तो देन दीज आर परफॉर्म्ड एज रिस्क असेसमेंट प्रोसीजर। प्रोसीजर वही है, लेकिन जब उसका पर्पस मिसस्टेटमेंट को डिटेक्ट करना है, तो वो सब्सटेंटिव एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर है। तो जब तक आपने मॉड्यूल खोला ही नहीं अभी तक, कुछ रिमेंबर ही नहीं किया, तो आपकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग क्या होगी? योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग वुड बी जीरो। Yes, Devraj, if you are not feeling well, you can leave. If your health is not feeling well, Devraj, you can leave. Yes, Jaya Patel, you are saying syllabus will be over. I think, Jaya, it would take another 2.5 months. Most of the essays, yes, Ajay, most of the essays are covered in C intermediate level. Most of the essays. Yes. Yes. So it is for you to Devender Singh to see. In the USA, you are saying age of 90% are studying. That 90% are studying, that's good. But it is for you to see how to cope up with it. So if you are not able to handle out the pressure, then what I can say about it? Okay, students. So I'll be taking a short break here for 10 minutes, and we'll see you after 10 minutes. Yes, guys. Welcome back, guys. So, students, who is regulator? Yes, regulator is someone who is regulating the profession. Like in case of CA profession, ICAI is regulator. It is regulating the profession. And Manohar Yadav, how audit program is different from checklist? So audit program gives instructions. It gives instruction to the team members to do what sort of things they are required to do while conducting audit. Whereas checklist is a nomenclature used for evaluating internal control. So checklist, remember Manohar, that it is used as a method for evaluating internal control system of an entity, of an organization. Okay. Yes, students. So now we shall be doing essay 550 relating to concerning with related parties. So this term, students, related parties also you have been hearing from chapter 1 many times. So what is the scope of this essay? Essay 550. It deals with auditor's responsibilities regarding related party transactions and related party relationships when performing an audit of financial statements. Specifically, it applies in relation to risk or material misstatement associated with related party relationship and transactions. So what does this mean, guys? This means that there may be related party relationships in the financial statements of entity, and the entity may have entered into related party transactions, but say the auditor is not fully aware of those related party relationships. Why? Because the management have not disclosed those related party relationships. So if the company, if the management has not disclosed those related party relationships uh, in the financial statements, then the auditor may not become aware of those financial those probable misstatements which may flow out of such related party relationships. So that is why it becomes important for the auditor to perform audit procedures relating to related party relationships and related party transactions. Okay. Is that clear? So what is related party? Now essay 550 defines related party. So students, you have to remember that related party may be defined in the applicable financial reporting framework by the very law. Say in the context of Companies Act 2013 specifically defines related parties. Companies Act 2013 में सेक्शन 2 में डेफिनेशन है कि रिलेटेड पार्टी कौन कौन है. सपोज अगर दो कंपनीज में कॉमन डायरेक्टर्स हैं तो वो रिलेटेड पार्टी का एग्जांपल है. एक कंपनी दूसरी कंपनी के साथ एक कंपनी ट्रांजैक्शन करती है अपने डायरेक्टर के साथ, तो वो भी एक रिलेटेड पार्टी ट्रांजैक्शन का एग्जांपल है कि that company is entering into a transaction with the related party. But students, whenever you find related parties, it doesn't mean that these transactions are not genuine, that these transactions are fake. It is not this situation. It is not such a case. Essay 550 states only that when related parties are there, when transactions with related parties are there, or there is a possibility or there is a probability of related party relationships not fully disclosed in the financial statements, then the auditor has to be alert to the risk of material misstatements. The auditor has to be alert to the fact that there is a chance of material misstatements in financial statements due to related party transactions, due to related party relationships. Okay, so it doesn't mean that if a company has entered into transaction, if company X has entered into transaction with company Y, and then both are related parties, then this transaction is fake. This has not to be understood in such a manner. This has to be understood that if company X has entered into transaction with company Y, then these transactions had been carried out at the prices which at which they would have carried with other third parties at arm's length price. So there are no manipulation. So this is the aspect which the auditor has to be alert about. Okay, students. So a related party as per SA 550 is a party that is either a related party as defined in the applicable financial reporting framework. Okay, so either it is a related party which is defined in the applicable financial reporting framework by virtue of law. Okay, like in case of companies, I've been telling you that section 2 of Companies Act 2013 specifically defines related parties, and transactions with those related parties, these have to be disclosed in the financial statements. And it might so happen that financial reporting framework doesn't provide any related party requirements, or doesn't provide related party requirements in detail. Okay, so in that case, it defines related party as a person or other entity that has control or significant influence, either directly or indirectly, through one or more intermediaries over the reporting entity. So ऐसा भी है कि एक कंपनी जो है वो दूसरी कंपनी को कंट्रोल कर रही है. अगर ये प्रूव होता है कि एक कंपनी दूसरी कंपनी को कंट्रोल कर रही है खुद से या किसी और कंपनी से, थ्रू इंटरमीडियरीज ऑल्सो, थ्रू अदर कंपनीज ऑल्सो. ओके, सो देन इट वुड बी कॉल्ड एज रिलेटेड पार्टी. And another point is that another entity over which the reporting entity has control or significant influence. And the reverse of that is also true, that reporting entity, the company of which we are auditing, it is exercising control on other companies. Then any transaction carried out by the reporting entity with other entities would also fall in the meaning of related party transactions. Okay, so clear guys. सो जब दो कंपनीज में ऐसा रिलेशनशिप हो कि एक कंपनी दूसरी कंपनी को कंट्रोल करने की पोजीशन में हो, ओके, तो उसको हम रिलेटेड पार्टीज कहते हैं, उसको रिलेटेड पार्टी रिलेशनशिप कहते हैं. कंट्रोल करने की पोजीशन में या सिग्निफिकेंटली इन्फ्लुएंस करने की पोजीशन में, कि वो कंपनी काम कैसे कर रही है, उसके क्या डिसीजन है, उसके डिसीजंस भी लेने में दूसरी कंपनी का हाथ है. द सेकंड कंपनी इज इन्वॉल्व्ड इन even in decision making process of that company. So such transactions are called as related party relationships. another entity that is under common control with the reporting entity having common controlling ownership. जितने जो अगर शेयर होल्डर्स कंपनी एक्स में है, वो मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द शेयर होल्डर्स जो कंट्रोलिंग शेयर होल्डर्स कंपनी एक्स में है, वही कंट्रोलिंग शेयर होल्डर्स कंपनी वाई में है. तो कॉमन कंट्रोलिंग ऑनरशिप हो गई दोनों कंपनीज में. सो जब दोनों कंपनीज में कॉमन कंट्रोलिंग ऑनरशिप है, तो दोनों के बीच में जो ट्रांजेक्शन है, these may relate to purchase or sales, or these may relate to loans given or loans received. These would fall in the meaning of related party transactions. Okay. So owners who are close family members और कॉमन की मैनेजमेंट से, अगर कॉमन की मैनेजमेंट क्या है, अगर दोनों कंपनीज के डायरेक्टर्स कॉमन है, कॉमन की मैनेजमेंट हो गई. ऑनर्स हु आर क्लोज फैमिली मेंबर्स, दोनों एक कंपनी में से फादर और सन डायरेक्टर हैं, और दूसरी कंपनीज में से वाइफ और उसका दूसरा बेटा डायरेक्टर है. तो दीज आर ऑनर्स. या एक कंपनी में फादर और सन की, एक सन की मेजर शेयर होल्डिंग है और दूसरी कंपनी में दूसरे बेटे और उसकी वाइफ की शेयर होल्डिंग है मेजर. तो ये हो गए ऑनर्स हु आर क्लोज फैमिली मेंबर्स. सो इन सच केसेस students, when there is a common key management or common controlling ownership, and when one company is able to significantly influence the decisions of others, okay, the decision of another company, so such type of relationships are known as related party relationships, and transactions entered into between such companies are called related party transactions. Okay. However, entities that are under common control by state are not considered related parties unless they engage in significant transaction or share resources to the significant extent with one another. So the students, the companies which are controlled by the government, they do not fall in this definition unless they share resources between themselves. What are their assets? They share between themselves. Okay. So this is one of the exception. So basically what you have to understand is that in case of related parties, the parties are in such a relationship that one party is able to exercise control over another party, or one party is able to exercise significant influence over another party. This might happen because there are common persons, or this might happen because they are close relatives. Okay. So this is the broad meaning of related party relationships and related party transactions. So SA 550 deals with such related party relationships and transactions. So meaning of control and significant influence, students, this relates to decision making process of another company, that another company has power to govern the financial and operating policies of the entity so as to obtain benefit from its activities. Okay. Or significant influence means is the power to participate in the financial and operating policy decisions of an entity but is not control over those policies. So although the another company is not controlling those policies, but it has the capacity, it has the capacity to participate in the financial policies of the company, to significantly affect the operational policies, how that company is being run. It is in a position to influence those policies. Okay. So again, the same thing, the existence of these relationships, following relationships may indicate the presence of control or significant influence, like direct or indirect equity holdings in the entity. ओके, एक कंपनी में दूसरी कंपनी के शेयर हैं, सो दे हैव ए कॉमन इंटरेस्ट. द एंटिटी इज होल्डिंग ऑफ डायरेक्ट और इनडायरेक्ट इक्विटी. तो कंपनी जो है डायरेक्ट उसने इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं कर रखी दूसरी शेयर में, दूसरी कंपनी के शेयर्स में, लेकिन इनडायरेक्टली कर रखी है थ्रू लेयरिंग, थ्रू अदर कंपनीज. ओके. So like being part of those charged with the governance or key management. So common key management. So these are the conditions, these are the situations which show related party relationships. Okay. So related parties, by virtue of their ability to exert control or significant influence, may be in a position to exert dominant influence over the entity. So because they are able to influence the decision making process of other companies, so therefore they are in a position to exercise major domineering influence over other companies, over other parties. And meaning of special purpose entities as related parties. Say, students, sometimes it might so happen that related parties, that a company may launch another company as a some sort of project, to complete some sort of project. So although it may not be holding significant investment in it, but it may significantly control it effectively. The project may be controlled by another company. So this is called these are called special purpose entities. So entities which are formed for a specific purpose, for the purpose of executing a project. So these can also be termed as related parties if the company which is executing the project is being controlled in substance effectively by another company. So in that case, both of these will be related parties. Okay. So students, you have to understand that related party transactions are in the normal course of business. So in modern business world, there are many companies which are connected with each other. It is not a crime to do transactions with the related parties. But the point is that from an auditor's point of view, from an auditor's perspective, these carry higher risk of material misstatements. That there is a greater chance, there is a greater possibility that these that these transactions, that the transactions which are carried between the related parties or among the related parties, these may be materially misstated. So there is a greater risk, but it doesn't mean that all such transactions are fake, that whenever you find any related party transaction, you would say it is fake. No, it is not the case. This you have to remember very, very clearly. Okay. So the related party transactions are in normal course of business, but in such circumstances, they may carry no higher risk of material misstatement than similar transactions with unrelated parties. Say if the transactions are carried out on those conditions with related parties at which these may have been carried with third parties, then these carry no risk of material misstatement. But if they are not carried on the same terms, on the same conditions, like स्टूडेंट्स एक एग्जांपल लेते हैं कि एक कंपनी कोई मटेरियल है, वो उसको थर्ड पार्टी के साथ तो मार्केट में सेल कर रही है वो 100 रुपए का, ओके, लेकिन जब वो सेम मटेरियल, सेम क्वांटिटी, सेम क्वालिटी अपनी रिलेटेड पार्टी के साथ सेल कर रही है, तो वो सेल कर रही है 200 रुपए का. So it is leading to overstatement of sales. So such kind of risk of material misstatement is there when there are related party relationships and when there are related party transactions. So what does SA 550 states? SA 550 states that auditor has to be aware of such type of relationships and such type of transactions. Okay. So related parties, students, may operate through an extensive and complex range of relationships with a corresponding increase in the complexity of related party transactions. So related party students, जैसे कि मैंने आपको बताया कि वो ऑपरेट कर सकती है लेयरिंग के थ्रू. एक कंपनी की आगे उसकी इन्वेस्टमेंट किसी एक सब्सिडरी में है, उसकी इन्वेस्टमेंट आगे किसी और कंपनी में है, तो फाइनल जो अल्टीमेटली बेनिफिशियरी है वो कोई और है. तो इसलिए रिलेटेड पार्टीज को आइडेंटिफाई करना भी डिफिकल्ट है. ओके. So this is one of the reason, and another reason is information systems may be ineffective at identifying or summarizing transactions between an entity and related parties. कि जो कंपनी ने अपना कंट्रोल सिस्टम बनाए हुए हैं to produce the financial information, they may not identify the related parties properly. They have not been designed in such a way to identify related parties. Okay, clear, students? So related party transactions may not be conducted under normal market terms and conditions, and some related parties may be conducted with no exchange of consideration. This point I have already explained to you. Like these transactions may not be performed. These transactions may not be carried out at normal market conditions. So I've given you an example of sales कि मैं थर्ड पार्टी के साथ कोई मटेरियल अगर 100 रुपए का बेच रहा हूं, तो रिलेटेड पार्टी के साथ उसको 200 रुपए का बेच रहा हूं. So I am not entering into a transaction with a third party on the same terms as I am doing with other parties. Okay. Or I might not be getting any consideration from transaction entered into with the third parties. Like for example, company X has given loan of rupees 1 crore to its related party, to its related company in which directors are common, but it is not charging any interest from this company, from Y company. So had X company given loan to some another company, then definitely it would have charged interest on the loan amount given. But in this transaction, when X company is giving loan to Y company without charging of interest, so it is not operating at the same level at which it would have operated with other third parties. So that is the risk. So that is the risk, students. So related party transactions often lead to diversion of funds. So a company gives money to another related party, and the related party siphons it off. वो उसको कहीं यूज कर लेती है, इस कंपनी में से पैसा निकल गया. So this is the risk of material misstatement. This is the risk of material misstatement to which an auditor has always to remain alert. Okay. So understanding the entities, related party relationship and transactions. So first thing for the auditor is to understand the related party relationships and transactions. So before understanding related party transactions, the auditor has to understand that whether related party relationships exist. अगर उसको पता ही नहीं होगा कि ये रिलेटेड पार्टी है, तो वो उनकी ट्रांजैक्शंस क्या वेरीफाई करेगा? So first of all, foremost requirement for an auditor is to see that all related party relationships are disclosed in the financial statements. That the information system of the company is capable of disclosing all the related party relationships in the financial statements, which are required to be disclosed. That is the most important thing. So if the auditor first becomes aware of the related party relationships, only then he would be going into the second step of ensuring a verification of related party transactions. Okay. Clear, students? Yes. So the auditor shall inquire of management regarding identity of the entities, related parties, whether all related party transactions are properly identified, the nature of relationships, कैसा relationship है, whether directors are common, whether there are common shareholders. So this kind of relationship is to be established to see that whether it is a related party or not at the first place. Okay. So whether the entity entered into any transactions with these related parties during the period, if so, the type and purpose of these transactions. And once related party relationship is established, it is known that these two parties are related. So next duty, next responsibility of the auditor is to see transactions between these two related parties, is to see whether the transactions between these two parties have been entered at say arm's length price, at say on normal market terms and conditions. So this is the duty of auditor to see. Okay, students. So the auditor shall inquire of management and others within the entity and perform risk assessment procedures to obtain understanding of the controls. So सबसे पहले तो students now again go to risk assessment procedures. Remember risk assessment procedures we had done in chapter 3. So risk assessment procedures, what is the meaning of risk assessment procedures? Their purpose is to identify and assess risk of material misstatement. So by performing risk assessment procedures, the auditor sees that whether there is a risk of material misstatement due to related party relationships. Because whenever there are related party relationships, there is risk of material misstatement. There is a chance of material misstatements creeping in because of the related party relationships and related party transactions resulting due to such relationships. Okay. So when the auditor is performing risk assessment procedures, he shall identify and see whether related party transactions are in accordance with related party relationships are in accordance with applicable financial reporting framework. So whatever was required to be disclosed in accordance with applicable financial reporting framework, this has been disclosed. Now this is the important thing for him. Okay. Authorize and approve significant transactions and arrangement with related parties. He has to see that there is a proper system within the management, that transactions with related parties are authorized and approved by competent persons within the company who have the authority to do so. Okay, so what is the type of system, what are the internal controls which the company has developed regarding carrying out transactions between the related parties? And third is authorize and approve significant transactions and arrangement outside the normal course of business. से कोई ट्रांजैक्शंस हैं जो कि नॉर्मल बिजनेस में नहीं है, जैसे कि नॉर्मल परचेज और सेल की ट्रांजैक्शन नहीं है, तो उसका क्या अप्रूवल प्रोसेस है? व्हाट इज द अप्रूवल प्रोसेस? व्हाट आर द कंट्रोल्स ऑपरेटिंग इन दैट रिलेटिंग टू related parties? So these all things auditor sees, these all things auditor is responsible for. Okay. So considerations specific to smaller entities by the auditor. So students, tell me one thing, in smaller entities, in smaller concerns, whether controls are likely to be formal or these are likely to be less structured, whether controls are likely to be more structured or whether these are likely to be less structured. Yes. Yes, students. Yes, can you tell whether controls in smaller companies are likely to be more structured or likely to be less structured? Yes, Rito, Ashok, Khareal, yes, you are right. Controls are likely to be less structured because why? Because there are no formal systems in place in smaller concerns, in smaller companies. सो जो कंपनी का मालिक है, जो कंपनी का ऑनर है, वो दूसरे भी काम कर रहा है, वो परचेज भी कर रहा है, वो सेल भी कर रहा है, वो मार्केटिंग भी देख रहा है, वो बैंकिंग भी देख रहा है, वो एक रोल में कई सारी चीजें कर रहा है। इसलिए कंट्रोल्स हम कहते हैं कि स्मॉलर कंपनीज में दीज आर लेस स्ट्रक्चर्ड, these are less structured, these are not formal control systems are not in place in case of smaller concerns, in case of smaller entities. ओके, सो इसलिए उनका कोई, जब कंट्रोल ही मेरा प्रॉपर नहीं है स्मॉल कंपनी में, तो उसके बारे में मैं कुछ डॉक्यूमेंट भी नहीं किया होगा मैंने कि कौन कौन सी रिलेटेड पार्टीज हैं जिनके साथ मैं ट्रांजैक्शन कर रहा हूं। ओके, तो इसके स्टूडेंट्स दोनों इफेक्ट हो सकते हैं। एन ऑनर मैनेजर मे मिटिगेट सम ऑफ द रिस्क अराइजिंग फ्रॉम रिलेटेड पार्टी ट्रांजैक्शन और पोटेंशियली इंक्रीज दोज रिस्क, क्योंकि कुछ ही लोग हैं, एक तो ही लोग हैं जो कंपनी को कंट्रोल कर रहे हैं, इसलिए उनको सब बारे में सब कुछ पता है। तो वो अगर उनकी कोई और कंपनी है जिससे वो ट्रांजैक्शन कर रहे हैं, तो उससे उसका इस चीज का रिस्क इंक्रीज भी हो सकता है कि वो ट्रांजैक्शन जेन्युइन ना हो, कि वो ट्रांजैक्शन फेक हो। और कुछ रिस्क, और क्योंकि सब चीजें उनके कंट्रोल में है, इसलिए वो रिस्क कम भी हो सकता है। सो इट कैन वर्क बोथ वेज। Okay, so for such entities, auditor may obtain understanding of the related party controls through inquiry of the management and other processes such as observation and review and inspection. So कोई भी चीज को कंट्रोल सिस्टम को देखने के लिए स्टूडेंट्स, यू हैव टू रिमेंबर देन that an auditor has to perform inspection, observation and inquiry. These are three processes, but inquiry alone is not sufficient as we had remembered. Okay, so students रिलेटेड पार्टी रिलेशनशिप्स अगर डिस्क्लोज नहीं है फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स में, तो ऑडिटर के पास क्या ऑप्शन अवेलेबल है? व्हाट ऑप्शन इज अवेलेबल विद द ऑडिटर टू वेरीफाई रिलेटेड पार्टी रिलेशनशिप्स? नाउ he can understand related party relationships by inspecting various documents, by going through various documents. Okay, like entities income tax returns, information supplied by the entity to regulatory authorities, shareholders registers, members registers, records of entities investments, contracts which have been entered by the with key management persons, and internal auditors report. So these are some of the documents from which we can arrive at the related party relationships. Okay, so by studying these documents, we can have an understanding that these parties could be in the nature of related parties, that such type of relationships could be related party relationships, and transactions entered into with such companies could be related party transactions. Like if I go through the shareholders registers, members register, then I come to know that who are the shareholders in this company. Okay, and if I can verify, if I have means to verify, to see the income tax return of another company, then I can see who are the significant uh, owners of another company, because such an information is disclosed in the income tax return. So by correlating such information, I can have an understanding about the related party relationships. Clear, students? So these are some of the documents where from which the auditor can obtain understanding about the related party relationships. Okay. So this is the responsibility of auditor regarding related party relationships and related party transactions. So clear guys, अब आपकी queries देख लेते हैं क्या क्या है related parties के बारे में. Yes. Yes, Ashok, you are writing if auditor remains the same, should he not check the opening balances? No, no. Ashok, if the auditor remains the same, he has to check the opening balances, but as far as this essay is concerned, we are talking about essay 510. This, as far as this essay is concerned, this essay is applicable to initial audit engagements only. So because when the auditor is accepting audit for the first time, then there are some special responsibilities thrust upon him. There are some special responsibilities cast upon him. So this is what SA 510 deals with. It is not that if I am an auditor of a company for last year and this year also I will not check the opening balances. I will check the opening balances. But since in case of initial audit engagement, I have not conducted the audit of the previous year, then there is a need for greater responsibility. There is a need for greater alertness. That is why this essay on initial audit engagement and responsibility of auditor regarding opening balances. Its significance is this. Hope the point is clear to you, Ashok. Yes, is private limited company is owned by the relative of directors, Ashok, then these are related parties. So who are the relatives? That has to be in accordance with the definition which is given there in the Companies Act. In accordance with the definition of meaning of relative. So relative is defined specifically in Companies Act 2013. Okay. Yes, Manohar, you are asking if transaction not held according to arm's length price, it means it is risk of material misstatement. Yes, Manohar, you are right. If transaction is not held at arm's length price, it increases the possibility of risk of material misstatement. Yes, Nagaraju, you are writing something about Companies Act 2013. Yes, Swati, what is plausible relationship? Plausible means believable. So what do analytical procedures achieve, Swati? They establish a relationship between say financial data or between say financial data and non-financial data. So plausible means believable, which can be accepted. Okay. Yes, Abhishek Bajpai, you are stating, isn't it better to look at genuine transaction instead of finding a relationship between the parties? Abhishek, the point is, unless and until you first find out that all related parties are disclosed, you cannot find, you cannot jump to their transactions. So if you find certain related parties, then it means that these carry greater chance of material misstatement, that transactions between these parties carry a greater chance of material misstatement. So that is the meaning. Yes, आनंद, आनंद बेटी, हिंदी में भी मैं एक्सप्लेन कर रहा हूं साथ के साथ, थोड़ा भी कर देते हैं. यस, Mr. Morgan, you are stating example for special purpose entities. So example is like say company has been specially floated to execute a project, and after executing that project, the company's purpose is over and it may be closed. So it is a special purpose entity. Yes, Pooja Gupta, you are stating auditors audit the financial statement, then he or she follows all standards on auditing or specific. Yes, Pooja, when auditing audit of financial statements, um, auditor follows all standards on auditing. All standards on auditing. Say which are applicable in circumstances, I would say. Say अगर किसी कंपनी का ऑडिट कर रहे हैं और उसमें समझिए कि कोई रिलेटेड पार्टी है ही नहीं, तो SA 550 कैसे अप्लाई होगा? SA 550 तो तभी अप्लाई होगा अगर रिलेटेड पार्टीज हैं. या आप समझिए कि अगर आप किसी कंपनी का ऑडिट कर रहे हैं और पिछले साल का भी ऑडिट आपने किया है और इस साल करंट ईयर का भी ऑडिट आप कर रहे हैं, तो SA 510 कैसे अप्लाई होगा? क्योंकि वो तो इनिशियल ऑडिट एंगेजमेंट पे अप्लाई होता है. सिमिलरली अगर किसी कंपनीज में इन्वेंट्रीज ही नहीं है, तो वो जो SA 501 में इन्वेंट्रीज वाला पार्ट हमने पढ़ा था, वो कहां अप्लाई होगा? वो तो होगा ही नहीं. तो अगर जो चीज जहां पे जिसकी एप्लीकेबिलिटी बनती है वो अप्लाई वहीं पे होगा. ओके. यस, पूजा गुप्ता, इज इट क्लियर टू यू? Yes, Jay Patel, whether predecessor auditor and current auditor will be same or not. So Jay, I told you already at the beginning also कि अगर मैं किसी कंपनी का 3 साल से ऑडिट कर रहा हूं, तो अगर चौथे साल भी मैं उसको ऑडिट कर रहा हूं, तो मैं उसका सेम ऑडिटर हूं. मेरी 5 साल की टर्म कंप्लीट होने के बाद जो ऑडिटर आएगा उसके लिए मैं प्रीडिसेसर ऑडिटर बनूंगा. So predecessor auditor means by definition he should be different from the current auditor. Yes. Yes, Priyanka Pandey, you are saying that if management wants to give relaxation to related parties, so you have to see that if management has given relaxation, what is its impact on the financial position of the company? So the auditor duty is to see such things. What is its impact on the financial statements of the company? Say company X ने company Y को लोन दिया 1 करोड़ रुपए का, दोनों रिलेटेड पार्टीज हैं, लेकिन उस पर कोई इंटरेस्ट चार्ज नहीं किया क्योंकि वो मेरी रिलेटेड पार्टी है. तो उससे कंपनी के प्रॉफिट्स पे तो इंपैक्ट हो रहा है ना. कंपनी अगर उस फंड्स को ना देती तो वो उसको अपने बिजनेस में यूज करती, जिससे उसके बेटर उसकी फंड्स मैनेजमेंट बेटर होती, या किसी और पार्टी को देती जो रिलेटेड पार्टी नहीं है, तो उसे इंटरेस्ट चार्ज करती, तो कंपनी के प्रॉफिट्स का तो नुकसान हो गया ना. So these things, such impact has to be considered by the auditor. Yes, Ashok Khareyal, you are saying if sales are made to related parties at higher rates, company is making a higher profit. Why there should be risk of material misstatement? Ashok, you have to understand that misstatement means it can be overstatement or it can be understatement. If sales are inflated, so number one thing is that sales are misstated. Although these are overstated, but these are misstated. So any misstatement which is understatement or which is overstatement, both things are important to the auditor. Auditor wants that financial uh, amounts, that account balances, these are reflected, these are stated at proper amounts, that these are required to be stated at the amounts at which these were required to be. ओके. सो अगर कंपनी अपना प्रॉफिट ज्यादा दिखा रही है तो इट इज एन एग्जांपल ऑफ मिस स्टेटमेंट. It is not that when profit is being shown on lower side, then it only becomes misstatement. When a company is showing higher profits, it is again a misstatement. It may be done to say to obtain more funds from the investors, to window dress its financial position. To show more profits means window dressing the financial position. Yes, Ashok, is it clear to you? Yes, Rito, you are saying identifying related party relationship falls under the procedure of risk of material misstatement. See, Rito, identifying and assessing risk of material misstatements. Under this, the auditor also sees whether there is a chance of material misstatement arising out of related party relationships. So, but when he is actually detecting some misstatement, then he is performing substantive procedures. Okay. Yes, Santhi M, can you please, you are asking which point you are asking me to repeat again, Santhia? Yes. Yes, Harish Chandra, if they contain a material misstatement, then auditor would have to modify his opinion. Then auditor would have to modify his opinion. Yes, Swati, SA 610 and 530 are pending, still pending. We will be doing this in coming days. No, Sanjana Ben, your question is not clear. What you are trying to say? Yes, Sanjana Ben, you are asking auditor is same but belong to different firms in both the year. Okay, probably you are asking that firms are different, but auditor is same. So how it can happen if the firm is different and the person is same? Okay, students. So it is over for today. See you on Friday, guys. Thank you so much.